Chris-Grollnek is a retired police detective corporal, a friend of the show, active shooting expert. Chris, welcome back to the show. We've been meaning to call you, and I know you've been busy. Thanks for jumping on this morning. How are you, my friend?
Hey, good morning, Joe. I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
So I hear people say, they can detect, there's technology to detect a gun. And we talked to my buddy, Pat Brosnan from Brosnan Risk Consultants, and this is what they do. They said the same thing you've been saying. What happened in Butler, Pennsylvania, man? The assassination attempt to President Trump. You're telling me that they have technology where they can detect the weapons. Like you said, you've been talking about this for years with us on the show. The Secret Service, I guess, never got the message, Chris-Grollnek.
I'm not going to comment if they have it or not. I just know it wasn't employed that day, right? And if they do have it, they didn't use it that day for whatever reason. If they used a drone, it wasn't equipped with the Skyla package of weapons detection. That same thing. I mean, it's just a camera that is like a Roku TV and an old television. You've just made it smart. It's a neurobrain. So if you plug in a neurobrain to a dumb camera, it becomes smart. It doesn't take any breaks. It doesn't make mistakes. It doesn't have any problems. Doesn't need days off. Doesn't get in arguments. Has no politics. So that's where where what you and I have been speaking about for 2 years is just merging the two types of technologies together, whether it's a name and not name, a known and not known, and experiment with the things that put things together. And as you know, we've talked about it. We have a near fireproof model, but for active shooters, and that's active shooter resistant model. Prevention, response, and options. It's a continuum. No matter where you go in that wheel, you can be preventing an active shooter, period, full stop.
So that should be at every school, what you're talking about, because or every local police officer. Does a school purchase this, Chris, or do you expect your local police to have it?
Great question. So mostly the pro model's for everybody. It's for the public. It's for our families, right? So you can employ a piece of it for, say, your studio, or a piece of it for your child's school. There's like 3 pieces. You'd have to find local people around you that sell it, because I don't. But it would be like Safeware Technologies, I guess, on that side, or Imron that has systems. And I'm not dropping names. I'm giving your audience an idea that you can go shop and put these things together, and you can become as active shooter resistant as you are fire resistant, because behavioral technology databases, weapons detection, gunshot detection, you just have those 3 or 4 things put together. If a weapon were to show up, like what happened unthinkable at Ohio State, it was a burglary in progress, and the guy retreated and became a barricaded person, and that became a police aggressor action. Thank goodness no civilians hurt, no public, but the public didn't know. And there's notification systems out there that would make it relevant to let the public know. Just like that thing in Butler, Pennsylvania. The public saw something, they tried to say something, but who do they say it to? And when the people they're supposed to say it to don't know who to say it to, that's where all the problems come in. And these things are normally coordinated. They're normally very well orchestrated. Everyone knows who to talk to and how. So this was one of those grotesque, unimaginable things that it's difficult because I don't want to let my mind wander into the beyond, but all the what ifs and questions that are unanswered, it just makes you say, wow.
Yeah, so Ohio State, that shootout that took place, no one was hurt. So now that an active shooter situation, and do we know the background of the shooter by chance?
Not too much. I just know that it was a burglary in progress, and he was noticed. So he decides to reload his weapon. I don't know it's unclear if he had fired any shots at that point. And he retreated and went into another location, which they didn't know was occupied or not occupied. But he tried to fortify himself in there, and then had an exchange with police, and they neutralized. Well, it's believed they neutralized him. They don't know yet who shot who first, whether he took his own life or they shot him. But at the end of the day, the shooting stopped, and we dodged a great public tragedy, because that could have gone so many other ways. But the police did amazing work and ended it right there.
Yeah, and it is unsettling going back to Butler and the attempted assassination of President Trump, where, I mean, when you see more and more video comes out, and the Butler Police Department, that really caught flack for it, they said no, and he said 2 days earlier someone should have been on that rooftop. And then this, and this is Piscopo talking, not Chris-Grollnek, but I always have to take responsibility for this. I don't trust the government anymore, man. I don't know what happened, but for that, Kimberly Cheadle, who was head of the Secret Service at the time, to let the cocaine situation go in the White House, not to listen to the Butler police and not put I don't know that it's, I don't know how they get their directives. We still don't know about JFK, Chris. A lot of things are just suspect to regular folks like myself. You can understand that, right?
Absolutely. I travel the country, as you know, talking for a living, public speaker. And I just got back from the Colts, Lucas Oil Stadium, giving a giant speech there. And, it's split down the middle. When I pull the audience, pardon me, who believes one thing, who believes the other. And yeah. I try to tell them, I'm like Switzerland, neutral party. Just let's try to solve the problem. And I'll tell you the one thing that gives me hope, and it's something that you just said, Piscopo takes responsibility because it's you. Okay, well, that's great. Yeah. If we forget about all the things that went wrong and just look at who is responsible and then why, what went wrong. Because at Butler, how would we assume that they're going to be able to take care of this problem if they're not working with the Secret Service every day for a year, training for the worst? That's all the Secret Service does. They're in charge. They're responsible. Buck stops with them. Full stop. And that's what we don't see, the accountability. We don't see the mass resignations of we can't believe we messed up. We don't see the accountability by firing in action. We don't see the full investigation that's truly transparent. We just see the pieces that are rolled out for one political side or another. And I think that's where the people end up in the, either side of the bipartisan now that's not so bipartisan anymore, that says, you're lying. No, you're lying. What if they're both lying?
Yeah.
That's the hard part. But believe me, either way, what happened is a travesty. It's disgusting, and the Secret Service is ultimately responsible. That doesn't mean they're bad service. It doesn't mean there's bad agents. It just means something went wrong, and somebody needs to stand up. And by accepting the resignation of the leader, that's a good start. But you obviously have some other things to do.
Yeah, clearly. Chris, great chat as always, man. Keep us posted. And could we go to activeshooter.com? Is that where we're going?
You can just type in Google active shooter expert. You can't fall over without finding me. It's like the first 30 returns. And as your audience knows, contact me anytime for anything. It might take a couple of days to get back to you, but we'll get information to you and direct you in the place you need to go.
Fabulous. Well done. Thank you, Chris. God bless. Godspeed, my friend. Chris-Grollnek right there.
You too. Have a great day.
Yes, sir. Thank you, too. Retired police detective, corporal, active shooting expert.